hope everyone's well. It's been a while since I haven't posted. This is me practicing English even though it's by myself. And I've been thinking a lot about a certain topic. And I decided to make this video to practice English and to express my thoughts on it. Basically, I've seen a lot of people lately, self-diagnosing them or using a lot of self-diagnosis and a lot of terms that I'm not sure they understand. Many terms of mental illness, for example. I suffer from extreme anxiety. I suffer from depression. I have mental illness in this area, in that area. A lot of these terms that I'm not sure people completely understand. And I'm not talking about the specific terms. Maybe these people understand what the terms mean, but the terms do not define what they are feeling. And that's where, to me, the danger lies. Because if you are labeling yourself with these terms unconsciously, you will start to develop symptoms, even if you don't have them per se. But you will start to, impersonate that character that you are creating and communicating to the world. If you keep saying that you are clinically depressed and that you have mental illness, you will either start to develop these symptoms, or the symptoms you already have will aggravate. They will downfall. And I see a lot of danger there. To me, there are a lot of people that do not understand what they are feeling, and because of that, they are labeling themselves for a couple of reasons: attention, and maybe since they are feeling miserable for X amount of reasons, they are trying to blame on something. They are trying to blame their misery on something. So maybe there's something wrong with them, and that's why they feel that way. Instead of, owning up to, I screwed up here, there, and here. That's why I'm miserable today. Obviously, there are many, many strings attached to all of these situations. There are many scenarios. But I just wanted to give a quick guide. And first of all, before I get into that, if you are suffering from any sort of sadness, prolonged sadness, continuous feelings of sadness, or any mental illness that you think you are experiencing, I advise you to try to find or try to reach out to a professional, maybe a psychologist, a clinical psychologist, or a therapist, a clinical therapist, because these people have professional instruments to help you understand what exactly you are feeling. You are not well equipped to define and self-diagnose what you are feeling. You are not. And if you keep searching terms and technical terms online of what you are experiencing, it can cause even greater pain. Do not try to find, a technical term to define what you are feeling. Once you go around saying that you have depression, these symptoms can aggravate, because you will be almost like owning up to this disease that you might not even have. And it's not the path that I advise you to go on. So I'm going to give a quick guide of a couple questions, or a better understanding of what you could be feeling before you go and ask help for a clinical psychologist or professional help. And I do advise you to seek out to professional help. So there are 3 forms of sadness or depression that or depressed state of mind that I would try to explain. So the first one is circumstantial sadness. This first one is basically a feeling, it's an emotion based on a circumstance. So maybe you got fired, maybe your day didn't go very well, it was raining, you got wet, and you're sad. That's a circumstantial sadness. Something happened, caused an action, and it made you sad. Just like something can make you angry, something can make you happy. Someone made you angry, that emotion came up. You're not a, you know, you're not feeling chronic anger. That anger has a cause. That's the first thing you should analyze when you're sad. Does my sadness have a cause? And really ask yourself that to try to understand. Maybe you do have a miserable life, and it wouldn't make you crazy to be sad, but it's a circumstantial sadness. And if you do have a miserable life, then you should aim for a better life in the circumstances that you have, and that alone will take you, or at least will help you through the state of circumstantial sadness. The second one is the symptoms of a depressed person. So feeling depressed, that's the second one. And the difference between the two, because they are very similar, is basically time. So if you're feeling circumstantial sadness for a prolonged period of time, then you will be feeling depressed, because something happened that caused you to feel sad for a long period of time. For example, maybe you lost your parents, you lost a friend, you lost an uncle, maybe you lost someone, and you're dealing with that grief, and in that grief you can feel depressed. But it's still a circumstantial depression or a circumstantial sadness. And that's where it's important for you to understand this, because if it's a circumstantial sadness, it means you will get out of it. It just depends on how long and how well you are equipped on dealing with it. That's why I advise you to seek for professional help, because with these tools you might be able to get out of this scope of sadness quicker, or at least help you deal with it in a better way. Now, if you start in this phase, you're feeling depressed because of a cause. Maybe you lost someone, maybe something very terrible happened in your life, and this caused the action of you feeling depressed for a long period of time. In this phase, if you start saying that you have depression, that you have a mental illness, if you start embracing that character here, it's not a very long path until you reach the actual depression. You can actually put yourself through, to maybe contract that disease of depression. It is possible for you to put your mind in a state of delusion where the delusion becomes reality, because you are creating this illusion that you have depression because of the cause, and you didn't deal with it, and then your mind believes in it, and you embrace that character of having depression. And once you get here, it's very hard to get out of it. Remember, I'm talking about the cause of action to get here. Now, the third one is the actual depression, the actual disease, because depression is a disease, but it's a mental illness, it's a mental disease, meaning it's not a physical per se. Some of them have actual hormones and genes involved, but it's a mind disease. It's in the brain. As I said, you could fabricate it. That's why it's important for you to understand what you're feeling before you label it, because it could complicate you. And the main difference from actual depression to these other ones is usually there isn't a cause. I gave the example of maybe reaching depression through a cause and you're not dealing with it. It's true. But usually depression does not have a cause. It is just something that you embrace. It's something that is always, either it's always been there, or either it's always been there and you didn't notice it until a certain point in your life. And depression is something that's very interesting because, in life you experience happy moments, sad moments, happy moments, sad moments, and you're in this seesaw of going up and down, and that's life. That's how it works. However, depression, in spite of the circumstances of happy, circumstances of sad, it's almost as if you're always in a straight line. You're not exactly affected by circumstance because you're living this depression, and it doesn't really matter because every day you wake up and you feel the exact same way. It doesn't really change. Circumstances doesn't change the way you feel. Maybe you get a bonus in work. Sure, you'll express happiness. You might even smile. But deep inside, the person who lives and is actually depressed and actually has the disease of depression, she will just be, or he will just be, in that straight line of feeling. And that is the best way for you to understand what it is you're feeling. So if you've always lived in that straight line, despite or in spite of any circumstance in your life, happy or sad, it's a good indicator that you have depression. And then I advise you, as fast as possible, for you to search professional help, because this, as I said, will provide you with tools to better deal with what you have. First of all, understanding what you have, if it's either one of these three. And once you understand what you have, it's easier to deal with whatever it is that you have with that tools of clinical therapy. And it's interesting because many people, I've read a couple of articles, and some people believe that depression always has a point of cause. Maybe when you were younger and you've blocked it out, you can't remember what it is, but it caused something that makes you depressed. Maybe it's in your genes. Maybe it passed down from your family to you, and in that genes, maybe something happened, and caused it. It's a cause of effect. That theory that there's always something that caused it. And I myself I quite believe this. I think there's a lot of things that are in our unconscious mind, in our unconscious mind, better saying, and they are unconscious to us, so we don't know what exactly happens. And maybe there was a cause of your misery, of your sadness, of your clinical depression. And maybe if you find that cause, maybe you can deal with it and attack it and cure it. And maybe a life without that depression is a life that you cannot imagine how amazing of a life it could be. And wouldn't it be great to try to get this life? And it's interesting to say that people who suffer from depression usually lose their strength to fight. And the reason for it is that they embrace that character of sadness, where it's almost like they don't want to get out of it because it's all they have ever been, and they do not know how to live without it. It's almost like it's part of them. But I just hope that guideline helps. It's important to ask these questions and answer them yourselves to better understand your own mind. But better yet, it's most important to seek for professional help, clinical therapists, psychologists, because they are equipped with the right tools to help you understand what you're feeling, and they can help you diagnose yourself. And better yet, maybe you do need medical intervention, maybe pills, maybe you need medication, maybe there are hormones in your body that are dysregulated. And if you seek this and you get the help and the treatment, your life could be better. So take that extra step, take that extra effort, because you cannot imagine what your life would be without one of these, mostly these two that are prolonged sadness, without these two sucking your life away from you and robbing you of great moments, of moments that are supposed to make you very happy with your family, with friends, and you're just living in that straight line and not feeling it and not experiencing it like you should. So that's it for the video. I hope this helps, and I'll be ending it now. Thanks for watching.